Hello, 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 hello. This is the Duke coming back at you. I actually made a previous video today and I just wanted to make another quick one when I came across this content. I am going to discuss Diane Abbott responding or asking questions in Parliament involving MP Kemi Badenoch, the Tory MP that's leading as a Equalities. Ooh. Starting again, I'm going to edit this. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everyone listening. No, start again. Hello, this is the Duke. I am coming back to you with another commentary on politics. Just gonna start off with a banner. Welcome. Okay. So when it comes to Diane Abbott versus Kemi Badenoch, so essentially MP Diane Abbott asked a question in Parliament when Kemi was hosting a Q&A based on her role in the Tory government when it comes to her role as the head of Women's and Equalities department. She asked her about the death toll and the COVID cases, especially in her constituents. So I'm going to just go through this video. Hope you guys could listen in.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. The Minister is very insistent that the wildly disproportionate rates of infections and death amongst Black, Asian and minority ethnic communities has nothing to do with the fact that they are Black or Asian or from a minority ethnic group. Has it occurred to her that the reason they are more likely to be in overcrowded, poor housing conditions, in the types of jobs that leave them liable to infection, these things are not random, they are to do with race and ethnicity. And can I ask her to do more in the area of data? First of all, can she speak?
So let's address that point exactly. So when she listed down those factors when it comes to housing and, community and the density in which people live in bigger families, why would you associate with race? Okay, you might want to contextualize it, put it in different categories to sort of address the issues that may mitigate the spread of this virus. But then when this narrative is placed, especially in the Labour Party, of constitutional racism and systemic repercussions from that, then you're playing a very dangerous and essentially lazy game. Not dangerous, but lazy game, because you're not addressing maybe particular tools and features of disparities in certain groups by masking it based on what you would justify as racism. And so I think the problem stems within the narrative being used. Let me just finish this video.
To colleagues about having ethnicity routinely put on death certificates? Can we have more information on the Haredi and the ultra-Orthodox Jewish community, who we know in America have disproportionate levels of death from COVID? And can she speak to Public Health England to make sure?
Just to make a quick point on that, the fact she raised a point on one group, Hasidic Jews, the Orthodox Jews in her constituency, because Diane Abbott represents Hackney North and Stoke Newington, and there's a community there of Orthodox, Hasidic and they tend to live in Stamford Hill in her region. So I guess she's trying to represent her constituency. But in order to do so, you would need to also understand and, recognize the attributes that are involved in that community, because you've represented that for over 30 years. So of course, Diane Abbott, you should have the answers already, but then maybe address it in Parliament. But let's see where she goes with that, and let's see how Kemi Badenoch handles it.
Sure that local directors of public health are making available constituency level data, particularly on ethnicity, to constituency stakeholders, including members of Parliament.
I thank the Honourable Lady for her question. I do wish she had actually read my report, because she would have seen that I have addressed that not just in the October report, but also in the one that came out last week. And what I would say on recording data or ethnicity data on death certificates, that was one of the recommendations which was in my previous report. It's not something that can be done overnight. It will probably require legislation, but we are on our way to getting that. So that's some good news that she can have. She also mentioned the Orthodox Jewish community. I think it's finally someone from the Labour benches has talked about this community. I'm very pleased that she has. Research from the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine estimated that 64% of the Orthodox Jewish community may have had COVID-19 in 2020. The researchers said the reasons behind this high rate of infection are not yet known. Strictly Orthodox families have significantly larger households than the UK average. They also live in areas of increased population density and in pre-pandemic times have regular attendance at communal events and gatherings. And the reason why I use them as an example is that this is why it is wrong for us to mix together lots of different groups. The Orthodox Jewish community has actually had more, has been more impacted than many of the ethnic minority groups that get a lot of the attention in the press. But we don't say that this is due to structural anti-Semitism. We look at what's causing the underlying, what the underlying factors are. Multi-generational households, for instance, are not due to racism, but are often due to cultural factors. We're not going to be taking grandparents away from their families because of COVID. What we're going to be doing is providing them with guidance to ensure that they can look after themselves safely. And that's what this government's priority is.
Boom. Exactly. She made a very clear point. That Diane Abbott raised the point that certain groups are being affected the most by the pandemic. And instead of navigating towards structural racism, she pointed to the fact there are specific features within communities that may impact it even more. And because this community, Hasidic Orthodox, tend to live in bigger families, they are more prone to spreading this virus within their homes, within their neighborhoods. And of course, it's not something to be blamed on anyone, essentially just recognizing these features at hand. These are factors that just affect the rate of spread. But because you would expect better from Diane Abbott, this is your constituency. You know these factors. But why did it take Kemi Badenoch, to address this to you? Kemi almost sits there like a school teacher giving a lesson to a lot of these Labour MPs that just ask these redundant questions. These have very simple answers, but it seems so new to them, so refreshingly different to them. These are just based on logic, based on facts laid out and studied, and you need time to recognize these features. And so she addressed it very well. And I'm kind of satisfied with the approach, right? But then again, perfect for the role as women's and equalities head for the Tory party. I think she's the best for the role. I think that role isn't necessary. We should get to the point where we don't segment policies based on very specific groups, when we can just help people in general in lower working class or middle working class communities of any ethnic group and any gender. And we can address that. And she just scrape the floor. It's a very simple approach. Stop viewing it in the lens of some type of systemic oppression. It's exhausting, it's boring. We need to move from that. And I'm glad that there are politicians, especially in the Tory on the Tory benches, that address these issues. I hope it continues for good. Thank you for your listening. Hope you tune in next time. Please like, comment, and subscribe to do coming back at you with more commentary.